You're standing in the octagon, facing off against a fighter who thrives on chaos. Now throw in another opponent known for delivering some of the most explosive knockouts in UFC history. This is the huge clash brewing for UFC on ESPN 63, where Colby Covington squares off with Joaquin Buckley. It's more than just a fight. It's a battle between two rising forces in the UFC. The stakes. It's not just about a win, it's about survival. But who will emerge victorious? And hey, if you're thinking, what makes this fight so special? Stick with me, you won't want to miss how these two collide. Let's talk about Colby Covington. Forget the drama for a second and focus on his fighting. Covington has incredible stamina. When he steps into the octagon, he's like a hunter going after his prey. His wrestling is top-notch, and he knows how to control his opponents and put them in tough spots. He's fought some of the best, like Kamaru Usman and Robbie Lawler, and has only gotten better after each fight. What sets Covington apart is his pressure. He doesn't let his opponents breathe. Covington's strategy isn't just about outpointing his opponents, it's about breaking them mentally, physically, and emotionally. But this fight will be a critical test of his legacy. But what happens when Covington faces a man who has no fear of the chaos? Let's talk about Joaquin Buckley. On the opposite side of the octagon, we have Joaquin Buckley, a fighter who isn't just known for his power, he's defined by it. If you're a fan of UFC, you've likely seen one of the most iconic knockouts in recent memory, Buckley's spinning back kick knockout. That moment didn't just put him on the map, it excited the entire MMA world. Buckley's knockout ability is what makes him a legitimate threat to anyone, including Covington. His explosiveness is something that no fighter can afford to ignore. The man has dynamite in his hands, and when he lands, it's usually lights out. But here's the fascinating part. Buckley isn't just a one-dimensional power puncher. He's shown growth in his wrestling and overall fight IQ. The more fights he's had, the more we've seen him evolve as a complete fighter. It's no longer about just swinging for the fences, it's about picking the right moment, staying composed, and waiting for that perfect shot. But Covington isn't the type of fighter who gives you those moments. He's going to close the distance and drown Buckley in a sea of pressure. Will Buckley's knockout power be enough to keep Covington at bay? Or will Covington drag him into deep waters? And honestly, I'm scared for Covington. One slip up, and Buckley could put him to sleep faster than a lullaby. So now we've got two fighters who are opposites in style, and that's what makes this fight so intriguing. Covington is all about pressure, pace, and grinding his opponents down with volume and cardio. Buckley is the guy who thrives on patience, waiting for that perfect moment to unleash his raw power. When these two styles collide, the octagon is going to be electrified. The question we need to ask is, can Covington survive Buckley's power, or will Buckley be the one to withstand Covington's pace? Covington's game plan will likely revolve around neutralizing Buckley's striking by using his wrestling. We all know that Colby's wrestling is elite. He's one of the best in the sport when it comes to dictating where the fight takes place. If Covington can control the distance, close the gap, and force Buckley to fight off his back foot, we might see Buckley struggle. But if Buckley can keep Covington at range and land those heavy shots, we could be looking at one of the biggest upsets in recent memory. But that's the thing, when two forces like this collide, anything can happen. Will Covington be able to wear Buckley down with his wrestling? Or will Buckley land that one devastating punch that changes everything? But this fight isn't just physical, it's mental. Covington is a master at getting under his opponent's skin. His trash talk isn't just for show, it's a tactic to break his opponent mentally before the fight even starts. Buckley, on the other hand, is more reserved and more calculated in his approach. He doesn't rely on words, he lets his fists do the talking. However, the big question remains, can Buckley handle the mental warfare that Covington brings? Covington thrives in chaos. He's made a career out of playing the villain, and he loves being the guy everyone loves to hate. In contrast, Buckley is still building his legacy, and this fight will test whether he has the mental fortitude to withstand Covington's relentless verbal jabs and mind games. This mental aspect adds another layer to the fight. Covington will try to create a chaotic environment both inside and outside the octagon. He'll push Buckley to the edge, and when the bell rings, we'll see if Buckley can stay composed or if he'll crack under the pressure. Honestly, even though Buckley is known for keeping cool, we've seen fights where the mental pressure was too much. Will Covington finally crack him? For Covington, this fight is more than just it's about proving that he's still relevant in the welterweight division. A win here could put him back in the conversation for a title shot, but a loss? That could be catastrophic. With so many young, hungry fighters in the division, this is his chance to make a statement, to show that he's not just a knockout artist, but a well-rounded fighter who can hang with the best in the world. But with so much on the line, the question remains who's going to rise to the occasion and who's going to fold under the pressure? Now, the fight itself. Covington's path to victory is clear. He needs to use his wrestling and volume striking to overwhelm Buckley. He's not looking for a one-shot knockout. He's looking to drown Buckley with pressure. Covington's cardio is legendary, and he'll be pushing the pace from the first bell to the last. But that comes with risks. Covington's aggressive style means he's always moving forward, which leaves openings for counter-strikes, and Buckley is the kind of fighter who can capitalize on those openings. Buckley, on the other hand, is going to be looking for that moment. He doesn't need to land 100 punches, he just needs to land one. If Buckley can time Covington's entries and catch him coming in, it could be lights out. This fight will likely come down to two things. Can Covington avoid Buckley's power? And can Buckley keep Covington off of him long enough to land that big shot? And I'm on the edge of my seat just thinking about how this fight is going to go. It could end in a split second, or it could be a 25-minute war. No matter who wins, this fight will have massive implications for the UFC welterweight division. Now that we've broken down both fighters, the stakes, and how their styles will clash, we have to ask ourselves who will come out on top. And let's be real, who doesn't love a good knockout? I mean, are you even a UFC fan if you don't crave that traumatic finish? As we gear up for UFC on ESPN 63, one thing is clear. This fight is going to be an absolute war. Colby Covington versus Joaquin Buckley is the kind of matchup that gets every UFC fan on the edge of their seat, and I hope you're as excited as I am to see how this unfolds. UFC on ESPN 63 is shaping up to be battle between Colby Covington and Joaquin Buckley. Get ready for an unforgettable fight. Stay updated with all the latest news and predictions. Subscribe now. And let me know in the comments, who do you think will win, Covington or Buckley?